Okay, Hari Om everybody. We are on the portion where Bhagwan Shankaracharya is telling us to end the superimposition and the means to do it. It's one thing to tell us to do something, but then he also needs to let us know how we should be doing it. And that is what we have been studying so far. And so various methods, means have been given. Our job is to follow them because there is no point, the guru giving us instructions and then we listening to them and then just forgetting about them, right? So it is very important that we try. I'm not saying that everything you can try, you can do, but at least one. Pick up one tip, one verse, and then stay with that. If what will happen is, it's you pick up one, the others will follow. The other methods will follow. So take one, whichever one that you think is, suits you. That's the one you pick up. Okay. Vasanas. End superimposition, the means from 277. That's what we started with. And so fixing the mind on his own self, right? Which comes from Adhyatma Nitya. So remembering the Lord, fixing the mind on the self means it's the self is with a capital S. It's not your ego, like thinking all about myself all the time. But the easy way to do it is to remember the Lord in every transaction, because the self in me is the self in all, is the Lord. That is the idea. So when he says, think about remembering the self at every moment, it doesn't matter. You can think of the Lord as a form, and that's fine. You can start there. So when in every transaction in your life, you bring in the hand of God, whether good is happening or bad is happening, because both good and bad, joy and sorrow will definitely happen in everybody's lives. So in every experience. So that is what is that is what will help you end the superimposition. Because what is the basic superimposition is that I am the body. Okay, so by concentrating on the self, by remembering the Lord, your mind will get purified, and in that purified mind will arise the thought that I am not really the body, I am something other than the body. That's what this is. Okay. And then he says tamas is destroyed by rajas. We have seen this in the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva is the best, rajas is below it, and then tamas is the worst. So from tamas, it is difficult. It is not possible to go into sattva. So from tamas, bring it into a very active, come into an active, dynamic state, which is rajasic, and then move on to sattva, and then stay there. Because from sattva to shuddha sattva is grace. Up to sattva is self-effort. There you have to put effort. But after you reach sattva, you only maintain it. Maintain that. And that will, Bhagwan will then take you further. My bookmark is on 279, right? Yeah. Prarabdham pushyati vapuhu iti nishchitya nishchalah dhairyamaalambya vyatnena swadhyasapanayam kuru. Knowing for certain that your prarabdha will nourish this body, remain undisturbed and with courage, deny entirely your superimposition. We have seen that these last three words are being repeated. Swadhya sapanayam kuru. Do this. So how do I end the superimposition? One of the methods, and I have said this many times in many classes, that whatever is in your prarabdha, it is definitely going to come. And if it is not in your prarabdha, it will never come. No matter what you do to get it, it's not going to come. This strong faith you must have. That's why I think last time a question was raised, if Bhagwan is in my prarabdha, then he will come. Then why I should go for it. That's very true. But the thing is that if Bhagwan is somewhere on the way, but if you're not on that way, even how you will find Bhagwan? You are on a totally different way and Bhagwan is in some other way. So if I say that, so at least my self-effort should be that I should be on the same way where Bhagwan might be there. And then if my prarabdha allows, I will find Bhagwan. Or then in every single thing in my life, I must say, this is in my prarabdha, it will come. Why should I cook? If there is food, it will come. Somebody will knock on my door and give me food. Somebody will knock on my door and give me money to spend. Somebody will knock on my door and give me clothes. If you can follow that in everything, then yeah, Bhagwan also, you follow that. We can't do it only in this thing. Here, he's iti nishchitya nischala. Nishchitya is for certain. Bhagwan is saying, for certain, the body is being kept alive by its prarabdha alone at the time of birth of this body, because only the body gets born, the self doesn't get born. The womb, the experiences, and the ayu, the lifespan, is decided. That's it. So no matter what is happening in your life, body will not end. So idea here is, don't worry so much about the body. Also know that you are not the body. So whatever happens to the body is not actually happening to you. This is one of the ways to end superimposition, because this body, I have not only taken it upon myself, I have considered this body to be me. And so think, okay, body has its own prarabdha, body will go according, so I'm not going to worry about it. That doesn't mean that you don't care of it, huh? You take care of it, but no worry. No, don't worry about it too much. Naham jiva parabrahmeti iti vyavrati purvakam vasana vegata praptaha swadhyasapanayam kuru. I am not the jiva, I am the supreme Brahman. Thus, by eliminating all that is the not self, deny entirely your superimpositions which manifest through the propulsion of your past urges. Past urges are vasanas. What is a past urge? Past urge is that karma which I have done in the past, because of which I have gathered a certain amount of vasanas, and those vasanas, they fructify. When they fructify, when they mature, they will arise as a thought in the mind. And at that point, you will be prompted to do action. Now, our whole superimposition that I am the body has started from beginningless time, because avidya is beginningless. We have said that. So whatever that we are thinking right now, that I am the body, mind, intellect, equipment, that superimposition has been going on for many, many, many births. Okay. Now, by eliminating all that is the not self. So, you know where we start here? First, we start with the world, because that is easy to do. Nobody is going to say that I am the house. Anybody says that I like my house, I love my house, I have a big house, I have a small, all those types of things we say, but nobody says I am the house. So denying that is easy. Okay, I'm not. And that doesn't need denial. You know that. You're not your clothes, you're not your car, you're not your computer. That is there. The problem comes with the body. We have to understand that the body also is a part of the world. Okay, so even denying the body is a little bit easy, because what you can say is, yeah, I do have a mind, you know, which thinks, and because I think in such a way, I do such and such a thing. So denying the body also is not that difficult, though those who are not in this path at all, it'll be very difficult for them to do it. But those of us who are in the path, and we have attended enough sessions of Vivekachudamani also and Gita also to know that at least body, I shouldn't consider myself to be the body, okay, which is nothing but a bag of filth. So that we are not. So that now what happens is then there are people who think they are the jiva. Okay, like the famous example is of Nachiketa's father. See, those people who think themselves to be the jiva, they know that the body is going to die and is going to perish. Okay, that's fine. But they think that this jiva will now must go to the heavens. So I'm not the body, I am the jiva, and the jiva is going to travel, and I want that jiva to go to heaven, and so I do good actions here in this on this earth. So the problem is that even I am not even the jiva. That also is a superimposition. Considering myself to be the jiva, considering myself to the body is a superimposition. Considering myself to be the jiva also is Brahma, is superimposition. So jiva, as we know, is a reflection of that pure consciousness in the pool of the mind. And the reflection does not have any real reality. It is a dependent reality on the medium and on the object. And therefore, I am not the jiva, I am the supreme Brahman. Thus, by eliminating all that is the not self, but this elimination of jiva and supreme is still higher. That's why you start with the world, which is very easy. I'm not this world that I see. I'm not that. Okay, come to the body. Deny the body, deny yourself to be the body, and then deny yourself to be the jiva as well. The jiva is the one that is feeling joy and sorrow. And that's why we have the instruction in Bhagavad Gita, Sukha Dukhe Same Krutva. Why? That is the way to go beyond the jiva to Brahman. That is the means. But this is what he's telling here. Na aham jivaha param brahma. I am not this jiva which feels, which gets miserable, which gets excited, which gets jealous, which gets angry, feels compassionate also, feels so much love towards, when it's only my people, I feel love. If there's somebody else, then I don't feel love. All that is happening to the jiva. And that jiva has to be denied. And that is what he's giving us that instruction. Okay. Now, Shrutya yuktya svanubhutya nyatva sarvatmyam atmanah Kvachidabhasata prapta swadhyasapanayam kuru. Having realized your own self to be the self in all through scriptures, by reasoning, and from your own direct experience, deny entirely your superimpositions, even when a slight trace appears. Now, this is even going higher than this Jiva and Brahman. So, Shrutya, Yuktya, and Swanubhutya, these are the three methods. Shrutya is Shruti. Shruti is the Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita. Yukti is logic or reasoning. And Swa Anubhava, that is my own direct experience. So these three, Shruti refers to Shravanam. You have to listen to Shruti. That's what we are doing right now. Shruti, Vivekachudamani at our level, even Vivekachudamani, Atmabodh, Tattvabodh, all that is Shruti. Why? Because all that material has come directly from the Vedas. It has not, Bhagavan Shankaracharya has not created it himself. Okay, so Shruti refers to Shravanam. Yukti, logic, is at the intellectual level. So all the doubts, how is this possible? How is that possible? That falls under Mananam, which we have always said that Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam are the three methods to reach the supreme reality. This is what is being mentioned here. Shrutya, Yuktya, and Swanubhutya. So having heard, having removed all the doubts, and then
Jayaji, your voice is not there.
So finally, that the self in me is the self in all. That is the realization.
Sorry, Jayaji, we paused for the last 1 minute or so. We couldn't hear you at all.
Oh, Really? Okay. 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 So I don't know exactly 1 minute
Up
ago
to
what I was saying.
Nidhi, when you sing Shravanam and Mananam and Nidhi Vyasam, after that we couldn't hear you.
Okay. So the first three words that have been mentioned in this verse, Shrutya, Yuktya, and Swanubhutya, refer to Shravanam. Shravanam is listening. So listening to Shruti. And like I said, Shruti includes Vivekachudamani for us at our level. Shruti actually means Vedas. Huh? Actual meaning of Shruti is Vedas. So Upanishads become part of the Vedas. But at our level, even Atmabodh, Tattvabodh, Vivekachudamani, all these are Shruti as well. And the reason is that all this material has come only from the Vedas. So Bhagavad Gita is a Shruti for us. It means a point of great reverence. So whatever is said in these texts, we have to take it as the, what do they say, is the final truth. There's no doubt about that. So you do Shravanam, and then in your mind, you resolve all the doubts. Either you resolve them by your own self, or you can ask your teacher, or you can discuss. That is what we do in other classes. When we finish a text, we do Mananam. We discuss. That is what it is. And then Swa Anubhav will happen only in the seat of meditation. And what is that Anubhav? What is that experience that will happen? You will come to know at the same time that you are this self. You are not the body, mind, intellect equipment. And that self is the same in all. It's not like, okay, I came to know myself and now everybody else is different. Not like that. You will come to know that I am this self and I am the self in all. I am the substratum of all that is living and that is inert, because I am that existence principle in the inert. This is the existence principle. That is what you'll come to know. And that is the end of the final end of superimposition, is in the seat of meditation, when you come to know that you are that self. Okay, so this is what deny entirely a superimposition. So this is what needs to be done. So he has brought from, first, if you look at these verses, see, first he said what Adhyatma Nitya. So constantly bring the hand of God in every experience. That is first he said. Then what he said, from tamas move into rajas, from rajas move into sattva. So he's brought us to that level of sattva. Okay. Then what he said, deny the body. See, he talked about the body. See how the sequence is going. That's what I'm pointing out. So then because he doesn't mention the world. Why? Because there is no person who is such a fool to think that he is the car or he's the house. That Bhagwan Shankaracharya is not addressing those people, because that would be totally stupid. Then that would be that's like unacceptable. If you think you're the car, then oh God, then nobody can help you. That's why that is not being talked about. So it's coming straight to the body. Okay, level of the body. And then he went to the level of the jiva. So I'm not the body. Okay, then am I the jiva that is having all these feelings and emotions and all that? No. I'm not the jiva either. And how do I come to this? Shruti, Yukti, and Swanubhuti. So Shruti, Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, all the Prakran Granthas, all texts, which falls under Shravanam. Yukti, logic. Yukti means logic. All the things that we have heard, we have listened, we have to churn them in our mind, and that is what is Mananam, and remove all the doubts. Yeah, Guru says I'm not the body, but I think I'm the body, then how I can, and all that Bhagwan himself has done in the earlier verses. Okay, and then in the seat of meditation, come to realize your own self, that you have to realize your own self. Don't worry about realizing somebody else's self. You can't do that. You have to concentrate on your own self. You just realize that much, leave the rest will happen. The example that is given is of a pot of rice. You know, if you have some rice cooking, you will pinch only one grain, and you will know that the whole pot is either cooked or not cooked. You don't go on pinching every grain. Oh, maybe this is not, but maybe that one is cooked. You don't do that. You only pinch one. Right? And they say, oh yeah, the rice is cooked. That is the idea. You recognize your own self. Don't worry about the rest. All right. Now, Annadana visargabhyam Ishannasti kriya munehe Tadeka nishtaya nityam Swadhyasapanayam kuru. Since he has no idea of eating or evacuating, now what is happening is, in the verse 281, let's imagine why be realized. Let's okay. So since he has, so this he is the one who has realized in the previous verse, right? He did Shravanam, he did Mananam, he did Nididhyasanam, he realized his own self. He realized immediately, simultaneously, that the self in him is the self in all. Now Bhagwan is talking about such a realized master. Okay. So instead of talking about somebody else, let's pretend we have no idea of eating or evacuating. No, since he has no idea of eating or evacuating, the sage has no relationship with action. Therefore, through continuous involvement in the contemplation of Brahman, deny entirely all your superimpositions. See, when we study chapter 5 of the Bhagavad Gita, this verse will be, that time you should remember this verse. This is very well explained there. And what Bhagwan is explaining there is that action for a realized master. Okay, see, we are all doing actions, even like closing your eyes and opening your, blinking your eyes, that also is an action. Okay, breathing, talking. I'll be talking more about action in the Sunday class because it's in chapter 3, but this particular one is in detail in chapter 5. So here what he's saying is Anna, Dana, Visarga, Adana and Visarga. So Adana is receiving, Visarga is giving out. So even though it has been translated as eating and evacuating, it is not restricted only to eating. Eating, ahara, I told you, is taking in all perceptions. So eating only does not mean food. It means seeing, it means smelling, it means hearing, it means touching. Okay, these are all perceptions. And evacuation doesn't just mean evacuating, it means giving out. So response or reaction. Okay, both these are actions. When I see something, it is an action. Now that I'm speaking, I'm giving out a speech, that also is an action. So Adana is my seeing all of you, and my speaking is Visarga, is giving out. So taking in and responding to whatever I have taken in. So I simply, I see something in the store and then I feel like buying it and then I go buy it. Okay, so this is what is meant, which means, which includes each and every action and each and every response that this person gives out, takes in and gives out. Okay, in chapter 5, Bhagwan has given every action he has specified in 2 verses. So he says, you know, closing of the eyes, opening of the eyes, eating, this, every action he this thing. So this Munehe is a realized master here. The one who has done Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam has got the experience of the self being the self in all. So he does all the actions like we do. Doesn't he eat? Doesn't he sleep? Doesn't he talk? You know, so all the actions are being done, except for him. And the difference between him and us is that we think we are speaking, we think we are doing, we think we are watching TV. Whereas what he is thinking is, I am not doing it. This is being done by the eyes. I am not the doer notion is there in a realized master. I'll be explaining this point in great detail in the Sunday class. Okay, so what it is I do, and I also think that I am the one that is doing it. You get it? In a very simple term, if you ask me who is, I'm going to say, oh, I'm the one that is speaking. Whereas a realized master would say that this speaking is happening through me, because of me, because I am that supreme self. This speaking is happening because of me, because of the presence of the supreme consciousness alone can I speak. Okay, and being identified with that supreme consciousness, the realized master says that this body is speaking and I am only witnessing the speech. Whereas what do I say? I say I am speaking. This is what he means. That the sage has no relationship with action. Why? He has recognized himself to be the substratum. It is like saying the rope has no relationship with the snake. Does the rope have any relation? Does the rope have any relationship with the snake? Who has really? I do, because I got scared. I superimposed the snake and now I got scared of the snake. But the rope has got nothing to do with the snake. Therefore, the rope cannot remove the snake either. Because if you tell the rope, why you're frightening me? Why don't you take the snake away? The rope will say, but where is the snake? Show me the snake first for me to remove. So this is what is being said here. That the realized master, see, he has brought us up to this stage where all the superimpositions have now ended. In the seat of meditation, all superimpositions have ended. Once they end, the person knows, the realized master knows that whatever perception that I take in, I have got nothing to do with that perception, because my eyes were open and some form came in front of my eyes. The eyes took in the form. What has it got to do with me? And the mind processed that form. And the intellect said, oh yeah, that's a flower, that's a rose, that's a car, that's a computer, that's whatever. So I am away from all this. I'm the substratum on which all these actions are happening. And suppose if that person goes and plucks the flower, then he'll say, okay, the mind wanted the flower, so the mind has told the hands to go pluck the flower. What is it? It is because of me that the mind could tell the body to go pluck the flower. It's because of me, but it's got nothing to do with me. Do you get this point? Any questions?
The last part I couldn't understand.
Sorry?
The last part that you said, about the mind. I mean, up to the point where like you realize that the flower is there, the eyes are seeing it. I'm just watching. I'm witnessing. But after that, you said something which I couldn't understand or couldn't hear.
Okay, so there is a flower that see, the ignorant person also see. The realized master is living in the same world that the ignorant person is living. Okay, so whatever that ignorant person is seeing, the realized master is also seeing. Now both of them are in a garden. So that same rose plant or same whatever flower, both of them are seeing. Okay, so that flower is entering the mind of the ignorant person. That same flower is entering the mind of the realized master. Now, when that flower enters the mind of the ignorant person, he says, I saw the flower. I saw the flower. Then I want the flower. So now I am going to go and pluck the flower. And he will go pluck the flower. Okay. And he thought that he did all that. He got that perception and he ordered his sense organs of action to go and take action. I want that flower. I like that flower. Go pluck it. And I plucked it. Now, the realized master sees, and what does he say? He says, the eyes were open, my eyes were open, and so they saw it. And then in the mind, the thought has arisen, okay, in the mind, which is something other than me, huh? And the mind wanted that flower, because a realized master can also see a flower and say, okay, I'll take it. He can say it, but he knows that he is not doing it. That's the difference. He will do exact same action, right? Ignorant person also saw, went and plucked the flower. The realized master also saw, went and plucked the flower. The difference is inside. The ignorant person is thinking, I'm the one that saw the flower and I'm going to pluck it and I want to enjoy it. And the realized master is saying, the eye saw the flower, the mind wanted the flower, and so now the mind has told my hands to go pluck the flower. But I am the substratum on which all this is happening. This drama of seeing, it's like a drama for them, you know. So this drama, the eye saw, the mind wanted, the hands went and plucked. This happened on me. I am the substratum. It has got nothing to do with me. I have not done any action. That is the difference.
Jayaji,
This is what this is.
Jayaji, in the first place, in my opinion, the realized master would not want to pluck the flower.
See, that's, I told you, that is, we don't know. See, he might feel, oh, this will be so nice for my puja. Whatever that thought that arises, he is not taking ownership of that thought. See, the thoughts are being propelled by the vasanas. So it is possible, I've told you, that realization happens when vasana kshaya happens. So there may be a vasana for flowers. Okay, and that vasana will push him into action, but he will know that it is my vasana that is pushing my body to do this action. I have got nothing to do with it. Okay, that is the point. These other things you can keep on saying, why did he play? That's not. Understand the technique, understand the mindset of the realized master. Okay, you think flower, he may not want to. Okay, suppose he's hungry, ignorant person is also hungry, both of them are sitting in the dining hall, both of them are eating. This is a better example.
So that is also detachment, right?
Absolutely. So he knows that the ignorant person thinks, I am hungry and now I'm going to eat this food and I'm going to enjoy it. Whereas the realized master says, my body is hungry, the body is feeling hunger, and the prarabdha of the body that food is going to come, that food has come in front of me. I'm going to feed this body like I'm going to feed the dog. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj has used that. They asked him, he used to smoke even, see, he was smoking, he was a beedi maker, he was smoking before, even after realization, he was smoking beedis, he was smoking beedis. And people asked him, how come you're smoking beedis? He said, it's got nothing to do with me, this dog needs it. That's what he called his own body. He said, this dog needs it, so I give it to him. So it's very, Guruji has said once, you know, it is easy to understand Brahman, but it is very difficult to understand a realized master. So you must not take it like that, you know, that we may not want to buy this thing. I'll tell you one thing. So our Acharya had made 2 teams from in our batch. And one team was for self-effort. They had to put forth arguments for self-effort. Self-effort versus destiny was the topic. So one team was given self-effort, one team was given destiny. So the idea is that one team is saying, whatever is in the destiny will happen. And the other team said, no, you put self-effort and it will happen. So this was what our Acharya had done. And I was in the destiny team. Okay. So, our leader, young brahmachari, he was one person was like the facilitator in each team. I told him, I said, please tell everybody that if all of us go and buy a lottery ticket, We have put in the same self-effort. We go to the same store at the same time. We buy the same ticket. Are we all going to win that lottery ticket? I said, just put this question. So he said to the self-effort people, he said, how can you say self-effort is superior if we all go by? So the facilitator from that side said, but spiritual seekers will never go and buy a lottery ticket. That's what you're saying, that a realized master will. And our Acharya said, no, that is not an argument. You cannot put that argument. They have said destiny is superior, because if self-effort is the only thing that gives results and destiny has got no hand in it, then everybody who buys that ticket must win. And do they win? And that's exactly what those other people, they said, no, but we would never go and buy a lottery ticket. We are spiritual seekers, so we don't buy lottery tickets. And Swamiji said, no, that is not an argument. You have to answer this question. Why is not everybody? So how come self-effort is superior? So so we must not say the realize. So that's why I'm giving you the eating. Eat. So he will to eat. But realized master will not eat also. He will sleep. This has happened in case of Gurudev actually. So Gurudev was in Florida with Shailaja Nadkarni. She has passed on now. So doctor, she and her husband both were doctors, and they were great devotees of Gurudev. And Gurudev was staying with her. Anyway, anytime he went, I think she was in Miami or Tampa or someplace in Florida. And what happened was one person came and he wanted to meet Gurudev, and she said, oh, but Gurudev is in the shower. So he said, okay, I'll come after a little while. Then he came after a little while, and she said, I'm sorry, but he's now eating breakfast. And so he said, okay, I'll come after a little while. And then he came after a little while, and she said, you know what? He's now in a meeting, in a mission meeting with the board. And the person said, what exactly is the difference between him and me? He said, she told me herself, huh? I met her in PRC and she told me herself. So he said, he's taking bath, I also take bath. He is eating breakfast, I also am eating breakfast. He is attending meeting. Arey, main to din bhar, full day I'm attending meeting. So what is the difference? What is the difference? Externally, there is no difference. That cannot be any difference. He may be attending the meeting of his company and Gurudev is attending mission meeting, but meeting is a meeting. So there's no difference. But internally, he is thinking he is the one that is taking bath. He is the one that is eating and enjoying breakfast. He is the one that is conducting. Whereas Gurudev is saying, body needs a bath. Niyatam kuru karva. Bhagavan will say in chapter 3, do your bounden duty, Arjun. So Gurudev is doing it as a duty. It's my duty to the body to keep the body clean. And that's why I'm taking a shower. Not so that people will think how clean I am and all that. Whereas the ignorant person is doing for that. Whereas Gurudev. So externally, you will never see any difference. Sri Ram cried, na? So people said, oh, that's what this Sati is, who is, Parvati ji's previous birth, she was Sati. That is why she got confused. She went to look for, and that time Ravana had kidnapped Sita ji. Okay. And Sri Ram, not finding her, was crying away. And she sees that and she says, how come he's crying? Is he really the Lord? And she doubts him. And she comes back and she tells Shivji, I don't think he's, you'd say he's all great and all that, I don't think so. He's crying just like an ordinary man. Why was he crying? To show other people, no? He came down to live as a human being. Then he has to emote those emotions that an ordinary human being would emote. An ordinary human being, when he can't find his wife, he will cry. And you have to remember that Sri Ram knew that wasn't even his real Sita ji, his real wife. She was a fake wife that Ravana kidnapped. Because if he had touched even that real Sita, he would have gotten burnt right on the spot. So he told Sita ji, he said, now this Leela is going to happen for which I have taken birth. I've taken birth, I've come here, you have come here because we need to kill Ravana. Now to kill him, he needs to kidnap you. Sri Ram knew. So he needs to kidnap you. So you can't be kidnapped, because the minute he touches you, he will burn. So you better go into fire, and please, Agni Devata, give me a illusory, a virtual Sita ji. In our modern language, that is what we would say. Give me a virtual Sita ji. So Agni Devata took the real Sita and gave a virtual Sita, who got kidnapped and for whom now Sri Ram is crying. It's a Leela of Bhagwan. It's Leela. Okay, we must not misunderstand like that. Okay, moving on. Tattvamasyaदिवाक्योऽथ brahmatmaikatva brahmanyatma Twadadhyarya swadhyasapanayam kuru. By means of the realized knowledge of the identity of Brahman and Atman, arising from such great maxims of the Vedas as that thou art, deny entirely your superimpositions in order to strengthen your identification with Brahman. Here, identity of Brahman and Atman, please understand that in the individual self, the same Brahman is referred to as Atman or Atma. Atma and Brahman, there is no difference. I've given you this example many times. Me sitting in front of my children, I'm referred to as mother. Me sitting in front of my parents, I'm referred to as a daughter. I am the same. That way, Brahman with respect to totality is called as Brahman. The supreme reality is called as Brahman with respect to the totality. With respect to the individuality, he's called as Atman. He, she, it. So, with the help of these Mahavakyas, that's why we have these 4 Mahavakyas, and one of them is Tattvamasi, all 4 indicating the same thing, the oneness between Jiva and Brahma. So with the help of those Vakyas, those Mahavakyas, great statements, I've explained this also. The greatness is not because of its length, it's because of its depth. And all 4 Mahavakyas, they belong to each Veda. Each Mahavakya belongs to one Veda. These have been picked in the Upanishads. In every single Upanishad, you will find a Mahavakya, honestly speaking. Okay, when we study Upanishad, we will point out those Mahavakyas in those particular Upanishads. But these 4 have been picked from each Veda as a sample, you know. So these are not the only 4 Mahavakyas in the entire Vedas. Mahavakya is one which is giving identity between Jiva and Brahma. So whichever words are used to reveal that identity becomes a Mahavakya. And such Mahavakyas are in every Upanishad that you will read, that you have already read or you will read in future, that Mahavakya will be there. But not this. Tattvamasi is from Chandogya Upanishad. Okay, Aham Brahmasmi is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Pradnyanam Brahma is from Aitareya Upanishad. And Ayam Atma Brahma is from a 4th Upanishad, which I can't recall right now. But they are all from, okay. So one example, that thou art is the most common, and most of the textbooks like the Prakran Granthas will take this Vakya, this statement for analysis. That's how it is. I'm not sure exactly why. And this Tattvamasi is an instruction that the Guru is giving the disciple. So in Chandogya Upanishad, the Guru is Uddalaka Rishi, who is the father of Shvetaketu. Shvetaketu is the student, and Shvetaketu is told 9 times. In the Upanishad, this Mahavakya comes 9 times. So he gives the student an example and said, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. And at the end of it, Shvetaketu, the student realizes that that is what I am and not this physical body. So with the help of these statements, doesn't have to be Tattvamasi, it can be I am Atma Brahma, or this Atma is Brahman, that is what that means. And Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. So any one Vakya you can use. And in that, use that. So keep remembering this. How do you become strong in something? Practice, right? Driving, simple example, you get your license, then what, you go on driving, then you become an expert. Cooking, you go on cooking, then finally, so very, very simple. So if you want to become Brahman, then you need to keep asserting yourself as Brahmasmi. Practice makes perfect. Okay, so this is what he's saying here. Deny entirely your superimpositions, plural, because there are many superimpositions that we have done. Basic being, I'm the body. Then I'm tall, I'm short, I'm female, I'm male, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm sentimental, I'm not sentimental. All these are superimpositions. Okay, in order to strengthen your identification with Brahman. So right now, our identification is very strong with the body. That needs to be weakened. And then our identification with Brahman has to be strengthened. And how do you strengthen? With practice. So you keep reminding yourself that you're that Brahman. And I've told you this before. The main thing is, when you get hurt in your mind, remind yourself, okay, I am hurt. And why am I feeling so hurt? Because I'm not the mind. Or the hurt is in the mind. The mind feels hurt, but should I really be hurt? And that'll help in controlling your emotions. Let's do one more. Aham bhavasya dehesmin nishesha vilayavadhi savadhanena yuktatma swadhyasapanayam kuru. Till the identification with the body is completely rooted out, with vigilance and concentration, deny entirely all your superimpositions. So, like Gurudev has said, how long should I continue this practice? Till you become a complete expert. So how do you become a complete expert when all your superimpositions are denied? Means when you've self-realized. So for us, that means till this birth is over, you keep on practicing. And thank goodness, our practice doesn't go waste. Why? Because Bhagavan Shri Krishna promised that in chapter 6, he will promise that to Arjun, that whatever practice you do, Arjun asks in chapter 6, I do practice, and then suppose I have to give up my practice. And possible, they might not live. Or sometimes people lose faith, or sometimes the mind, the vasanas are so, what can I say? It's really funny because we have seen this. People attend mission classes, they're very enthusiastic, and then at some point they just lose interest. Okay, so does it mean that whatever they practiced is gone, lost forever? And Bhagavan says, no, don't worry. It will stay there because it stays there in subtle form, and they'll pick up the thread in the next life. From where they left off, that thread they will pick up at that time. Because it's vasanas, they've created those vasanas, then at some point they gave up for whatever reason. Okay, could be because there he says yoga bhrashta, they become yoga bhrashta. Yoga bhrashta can happen because suddenly they might die. The body of the prarabdha of the body ends, then even though they wanted to go further in that path, now the prarabdha ended of the body. Now what to do? Body ended. Now what to do? So that doesn't get wasted. He says, like a cloud, will it get, the clouds, the winds will scatter all the clouds. Does it get scattered like that? He says no. Bhagavan says no. So that's why this aham bhavasya, this bhava that I have, that aham dehesmin, I am the body. This bhava, as long as nishesha vilayavadi, nishesha means without any doubt, there should be no remnants of that thought even, that I am the body. That's where your practice will end. That's what he's saying here, which means self-realization. Only upon self-realization, that lingering thought, that lingering vasana, that I am the body, that will be there. In the final stage of knowledge, that will get burnt away. That also Bhagavan will say in chapter 9, that in that knowledge, in the fire of knowledge, this ignorance will get burnt. What is the ignorance? I am the body itself is ignorance. It's a superimposition. It's ignorance. This is a snake. That is superimposition. That is ignorance. When will it get burnt? When will it go away? When the light is turned on and I clearly see the rope. Then I will never mistake that to be a snake. So that is what Bhagwan is saying here. Okay. Any questions? If there are, shall I do one more verse quickly? No. Any questions? Are there any questions? No? Okay. प्रतीतिर्जीव जगतः स्वप्नवद्भाति यावता तावत् निरन्तरं विद्वत स्वाध्यासापनयं कुरु. O learned one, as long as even a dream-like perception of the world of objects and of the experiencing ego, jiva, persists, continuously strive to deny entirely all your superimpositions. Okay, so Gurudev has given two interpretations, and this I have also told. Actually, this one, O learned one, it can be taken for a spiritual seeker actually. Even though it is said, oh, learn, because learned one you can take as the realized master, or if you take it as a spiritual seeker, that is the two distinctions. And then in realized master, again, there are two distinctions. So if we take this as a spiritual seeker, then how long should the practice, even if there is a faint notion, like, when you see a dream, that's, you might think that this is a dream. So a lot of practice is required in the seat of meditation. The person meditates, he realizes the self. I've told you this before, but then the vasanas are there which will bring him out of samadhi. Then he goes on practicing more and more and more, where his students have to bring him out of samadhi for him to eat. And then he can go on there for months, like Raman Maharshi did. So as suppose if he realizes and it comes out, then depending on his level of meditation, what level he has reached, there might be these faint traces that the world is appearing like a dream. There might be. Until even that goes away, means he needs to keep on practicing samadhi till that faint perception of the world goes away. Now, for a realized master, there are two types that we have seen. We have seen people like Gurudev, Swami Vivekananda, who have come into this world and taught. They didn't leave the world and go away. Which means what? Means they knew that this world is, but they know that there are people who still think the world is real. Anna, did they think that the world was real? In their mind, they knew, but outside, it appears like that. Na? If I'm teaching you, that means all of you are real. This is what must be my idea. Na? If I think all of you are an illusion, why am I teaching? Right? So, but then there are some other masters who really said, this world is an illusion. So why should I go bother with the illusion? And they went off. So that is the two interpretations. Okay. So you can take it in any way, because he has said, oh, learned one. The learned one can be a highly evolved spiritual seeker, or he could be a realized master. So for a highly evolved spiritual seeker, which means he's very close to realization or just realized. He's right up there. Huh? He's not like at our level. So he has just realized. So there is this faint, dream-like perception of the world. And for the realized master, either is there, they will come back and they will teach, or then they just deny the world entirely. They say, there is no world. Why am I even bothering to come down and teach anybody? I don't want to do all this. And there are many masters like that. Okay. All right. We'll stop here now.